Hello, and welcome back to another FPL video. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. It has been an amazing 2024. Let's make 2025 even better. Before going into the content of the video, I want to say special thank you to each and every one of you that have joined the channel by subscribing to it. I managed to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, which is an amazing achievement for me. I was aiming for 1K at the start of last year to finish on the end of 2024, but I managed to double it. For this year, I'm not going to set any specific goals, but reaching top 5K will be ideal, but let's start smaller. I'm trying to reach 2,500 subscribers. Whenever it happens, it happens. So if you like to be part of the community and want to see more, you can go and subscribe to the channel. I'm currently around 20K rank before the last game of the Game Week 19 fixtures is played, because I'm recording this a little bit earlier, and my team value is at 103.9 million, which is pretty high. Today in the video we're going to review the 9 games that have been played so far in Game Week 19 and what are key notes from the games that I watched. Cunha replacements, because Cunha is banned and probably injured. So we need to see his replacements. Then we're going to analyze the fixtures for Game Week 20, and I'm going to showcase to you the transfer trends and what I think about them. Should you follow them? Are they good? Are they not? A lot of things. Basically whatever you need for the upcoming Game Week 20. Without further ado, let's see how Game Week 19 left us standing at the end of last year. This video may turn out a little bit longer than expected, but it's an ultimate guide, and I'm going to go through a lot of notes and things that I've managed to spot on Game Week 19. First, let's start with Leicester versus Manchester City. City won 2-0. It was a good victory for Guardiola's side, but by the looks of the numbers, it didn't look like Manchester City were in complete control, and that was the case. Leicester were playing well from the back, which surprised me a lot. Vardy returned to the side, but missed several chances as his other teammates missed, and the expected goals showcased it. Keeper made a mistake for the first goal, and that showcased the tone of the game. Leicester were in control, City capitalized. Winks and Vardy, in my opinion, are the only players that I would consider from Leicester as of now. For Manchester City, they were pretty lucky not to concede. Several times they made mistakes and Leicester couldn't capitalize. They played better, but a lot of things need to improve. Haaland scored. Is he getting back into form? We don't know. Then he missed another chance, so I don't know if he's back or not, but only time will tell. Foden was subbed off early, so that leaves only Gvardiol, in my opinion, as an FPL option currently. He can score from a set piece. He's playing there. He can score from an open play. You can add Foden and Haaland to that list, but Haaland is costing a lot of money, and I don't think he's a reasonable option to go for at the moment if you don't have him already, as the fixtures will soon turn for the worse. And Foden has been subbed off earlier, and McAtee played amazingly after coming on, so I will be quite hesitant to go for Phil Foden for my midfield. The next game that happened was Everton versus Forest. Forest won 2-0. It was a pretty good game to watch. If I was going to say that last season, probably I wouldn't believe myself, but yeah, Everton almost 1 XG and Forest 1.5, but Everton are toothless up front. They cannot score to save their lives. I don't know how they scored against Manchester City, but it's not looking good for their attack. They need to improve, and they need to take their chances, because they have those chances. They're still good defensively, so I would consider them. The only options going for there are Pickford and Mikulenko, as Mikulenko is very cheap and soon a double up will be on the horizon. Even though it's against Liverpool, it's still a double up. Forest, on the other hand, Wood with amazing performance. He played a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing him, but at the end of the day capitalized on his chance. They're still playing the 3-4-3, so the wing backs are going to be very attacking. Aina and Nick Williams are playing amazingly well. Forest decided just to switch the formation, maybe because of injuries, maybe because of something else, but yeah, it's working so far good. They're really solid defensively, even though they're with the 3 at the back. Basically, they're not letting a lot of chances go to their goalkeeper, and Morgan Gibbs-White and Elanga are finding form, which is only scary for the oppositions, as it was only probably Wood and let's say Aina before that, but now Gibbs-White, Elanga, They're helping the team. If when Ryan Yates returns from suspension, he will be important part. A lot of FPL options, I think, are good to buy from Forest. Selsingo, probably the best keeper this year. Aina, one of the best defenders. Center backs you can go for as they're cheap and nailed, especially Nedeljkovic. Wood, 6.7 striker, penalty taker. He's a talisman in their team, and Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White, as already mentioned, are gaining some momentum. So I would say Nottingham Forest are one of the best teams to invest into. Next up we have Crystal Palace versus Southampton. Crystal Palace managed to win 2-1, but it could have been more, but they could have lost the points. So Crystal Palace, Mateta and Munoz missed chances, especially Munoz's chance was a little bit of a no-brainer to miss, but he missed it regardless. But he's getting into some amazing positions, so I would say Munoz is an amazing option to go for. Eze with a good goal. He's playing lively, but I don't know is he worth the price over Sar. We'll monitor the game against Chelsea and we'll give you an update. Then still scoring from set pieces, Chalobah scored once again. Even though Gay was not part of the squad this time around, they still scored, and Sar was very lively even though he didn't score or assisted anything. From FPL perspective, I would say that Palace are a team to target. Henderson in goal, it's an okay keeper at that price. Munoz at 4.7, he's attacking like hell. Sar at 5.9, I would say that he is in a pretty good category at that 6 million price. Eze at 6.6, he's a little bit more expensive, but if he takes set pieces and if he continues the good form, he will be detrimental to our teams and probably will deliver whatever we were expecting from the start of the season. And Mateta at 7.2 is one of the options to go for if you're looking for a Cunha replacement. Going from Southampton, they almost scored twice or 3 times. Dribbling scored. Probably the best cheap midfielder in the game if you're looking for a 4.5 player to have as an option. Dribbling is the best option in my opinion, improving, but still not the best. They have a tall striker and I think they should be crossing the ball more into him, and I would think that they will cause some issues for several teams. And they're still playing 5 at the back, so they should increase their defensive stability. Sadly, the only option so far is Dribbling, and I don't think that this will change. Yeah, you can go for a 4.0 defender, but I don't think that they are performing that well either way. Next up, we have Fulham versus Bournemouth 2-2. It was a game where both teams played pretty well, I would say. Fulham, Rose started a second game in a row. I was surprised, and he scored. They were playing with wingbacks. Robinson and Castagne were very, very offensive. They are once again one of the sides that went to 5 at the back because of injuries, most probably because they don't have 2 solid midfielders available. But I don't know when Smith Rowe returns what's going to happen, but we have time to see. And if you're on a Robinson or Castagne run, I would think that it will continue getting you points in the foreseeable future. Center back joining attack sometimes, and it was mostly Bassi, which is quite surprising. He was like Robinson was going on the left and he was tucking in and he was taking shots or giving the ball to some other of the Fulham players. So assist or an attacking return soon from Bassi might be expected. Still conceding chances and clean sheets are in danger. So if you're looking for Anderson or someone like that, I would mostly prefer Castagne and Robinson as they can get the attacking returns. And Harry Wilson is going into a good form. Let's see if that can continue and if he can nail down the starting spot, but he might become an option pretty soon. For now, the only options in my opinion are Castagne and Robinson that you should go for your team if you're looking for someone to buy from Fulham. On the Bournemouth side, they should have scored more. Huijsen, one of the best performing center backs at the moment. He's amazing, and at the price at 4.4, I think that he's a very, very good option. Great on the counter and in the build-up. Once again, the manager has built an amazing side and they're performing pretty well. And Evan Nilsson returned back into the starting lineup but missed several chances. Scored a goal though, so I wouldn't say that he's in a void, but I would be a little bit content. But still one of the best forwards this year, especially for his price. Kepa at 4.5 is still a good option in goal. Kerkez and Huijsen in the defensive department. Semenyo and Kluivert when he returns from the suspension in game week 20. On Pence is going to be an interesting option. And Evan Nilsson up front at 5.9 is still good overall, especially for that price. Next up we have the Spurs versus Wolves game. It was a very attacking game. It was like a basketball game, up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. Spurs still awful defensively, conceding way more than they should. As you can see, 0.72 expected goals and 2 goals conceded. They're not just a good defensive side, creating a lot of chances, but missing a lot as well. 2.2 expected goals compared to the Liverpool game. They missed a lot of the chances that they've created. Maddison benched second time in a row. That's a little bit worrying if you ask me. I would be steering clear from him and Porro on set pieces when Maddison is out. If Maddison is injured for any reason and Porro is as nailed as it gets, Porro will be once again an amazing option. The FPL options from Spurs at the moment is Suanke at 7.5 as a forward and Kulusevski at 6.4, competing with Eze for that cheapish midfielder, if you would say. Wolves, on the other hand, were performing well once again. I think that they have improved massively under the new manager. Cunha is now bound and injured, so we need to see what's going on with him. Will be missed for sure from that Wolves side, but without him they managed to score still. 8 Nuri performing well at the 3-4-3 formation. He is now delivering the number that we expected him to deliver in the easier run. So when they get another easier run, I think that 8 Nuri will be a good option to target. And Huang is improving, so he can get back to the starting lineup pretty soon and nail down a position, and I think he will be an amazing option to go for, just like he was last season before the Asian Cup games. 8 Nuri and Huang at the moment without Cunha, I think, are the only options. Warsen you can add to that frame, but I just think Huang is better option than Warsen overall. Going into West Ham versus Liverpool, Liverpool are just cruising in the league. West Ham, they were bad defensively, really bad and didn't create a lot. Kudus was really lively on the other hand and could have scored twice. He hit the bar and then he had a chance where he couldn't score it. Bowen at the end of, not in the end, but around the 60th minute got an injury and I think he will be missing around 2 months. So now the attacking appeal is down for West Ham. The only option that I would go for in their attack is Kudus at 6.2, but he has a temper and I would be probably avoiding it. Wan-Bissaka as a defensive option, he's ever present, and when they play against the worst sides, he's playing a little bit advanced. And Tariao at 4.2 is still the cheapest nailed playing keeper until Fabianski returns. From Liverpool's perspective, Salah is just the GOAT, guys, but he missed chances. He missed, I think, 4 big chances. On any other day, he could have went with a hat-trick of goals and assists. Gakpo continues his amazing form. I think he is a buy as of now. Gomez is injured. This is hurting Liverpool a lot, especially without Konate being fit as of now, and Trent scoring a goal and should have had at least 3 assists if you ask me. He was playing out of this world against West Ham and I liked a lot what he did. The FPL options, in my opinion, are Alisson, Trent, VVD to cover that Liverpool defense, Salah, Diaz and Gakpo up front. Diaz is a little bit iffy to go for, but Gakpo and Salah are as nailed as it gets. Honestly, Diaz, I would say that he can get some benchings, but I think his time with Gakpo will be shared. And with Jota, Darwin, sorry, but I don't think he is getting into a lot of games, but still I believe that Gakpo and Salah are the best 2 attacking Liverpool options. Next up, we had one of the biggest upsets of the game week. Ipswich defeated Chelsea 2-0. To be fair, the game shouldn't have ended like that, but let's go through the game. Ipswich, Greaves is back. This is good for their defense, and they can now opt with 5 at the back, 6 defenders, 4 defenders, whatever suits their style. Keeper was dropped, so they had a new starting keeper. I would be monitoring what's the case there, and Muric is now out of the equation, and Dewap was performing really well. I enjoyed how he played. The options here are the 4.0 defenders, just because they're nailed, and you can get some cheeky returns like in this game, and Dewap is probably the best forward Ipswich can offer and the best forward from the Southampton Ipswich contention. So yeah, I would think Dewap at 5.6 can do an amazing job. Chelsea, on the other hand, 2 expected goals and they didn't manage to score, missed a lot of chances. Rotations did not pay off, so I wouldn't think that they will keep rotating. I think not now with Felix and Nkunku's bad performance. Jackson is back into the frame. I think Neto is going to be way safer. I don't know what's going to happen with the goalkeeper's position, but I still think with 1 game per week in the next couple of months, not couple of months, but let's say 40 days, Chelsea will be performing well. They created chances, but they couldn't convert them. Palmer didn't have a day. He was playing really well. He hit the bar twice. Basically an amazing performance, so those that went with him as a captain were pretty unlucky not to get any returns. The FPL options from Chelsea will remain Palmer, Jackson and Cowell. I think that selling Jackson isn't needed. As of now, I don't think that he is going to play less than 85 minutes every week. I don't think that he now will be more aggressive, as he won't be suspended if he receives a yellow card. Palmer is just the best player in Chelsea. If something happens to him, God forbid, I don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea's team. He's just everywhere, and Cowell at the 4.6 price point is a good option at the Chelsea defense because he's not going anywhere and he is ever present. Next up, we have the Manchester United versus Newcastle game. Manchester United could have scored, but they didn't. They were awful with the first half. I don't know how they were losing only 2-0. 5 at the back they are playing, and they still cannot defend crosses, which is basically absurd. I think that they should be the best at crosses in that formation, but they conceded 2 from them. I don't think they're playing too well. Maino looked alright when he came on, but honestly, I think that United are in shambles. The FPL options still for me are Amat and Bruno. Bruno as a penalty taker. He's now back from a suspension, probably not in game week 20, but after that can be an option. And Amat is a pretty cheeky pick, but I think he performed better as a right wing back. As a right mid, he's way more covered and way more man marked, while as a winger, as a right wing back, he can come from the deep and can deliver some good performances, and then at the end of the game you can proceed and move him forward. But when he starts as a right winger, I'm not a fan. From Newcastle's perspective, they continue their amazing form, but I think that those 4 fixtures were made for them to play well. Amazing performance still. Isaac scores once again 6 games in a row with goals. That guy is just inevitable at the moment. I think he ended the month as the top scorer in the Prem, so 8 goals in December. That's amazing. Ho was very attacking. Honestly, owners were unlucky to get only with 1 assist. He could have scored once or twice. He could have assisted several times more. Ho is just pretty good, improving defensively every game. Now Shar is suspended for game week 20, which can cause a little bit of issues, especially against Spurs, but still I think that they will continue improving defensively. Bruno G is just playing everywhere. I would say that he, Caicedo and Gravenberg are the top 3 midfielders this year. They have been playing amazingly well, and I very much enjoy how they're playing. As Shar is now suspended, I would say that Cole, Gordon and Isaac are the only 3 options that I would consider. From the Newcastle team, Murphy is there, but I think that Murphy is a streaky player and I wouldn't advise anyone to go for him. And the last game that we're going to discuss is Aston Villa versus Brighton. Aston Villa and Brighton scored some good goals, some out of the box shots, so they played pretty alright. Great on attacking returns. Rodgers was really lively, but now he's banned. I wouldn't sell him as he now faces Leicester, which is banned for Everton. After that is Arsenal, and after that it's 3 easy fixtures, so I would consider keeping Rodgers if I was with him. So yeah, just bench him. Play a defender if you have to. Watkins not at his best, but he's on penalties, so that increases his appeal. Torres sadly went out with an injury, so the defensive appeal for Aston Villa is dropping even further. Constant 4.4, even though the appeal is down, I think he provides an okay option to go for from their defense, and he's cheap. Watkins at 8.8, he is a good differential for the next 2 weeks. Brighton on the other side will continue with their leaky defense. They shouldn't have conceded those goals. They were stupidly conceded. Leaky at the back. Pedro not great as a striker. I would continue saying that they need someone ahead of him. Even if it was Rutter, Welbeck, Ferguson, whoever, just put a guy to take the appeal from Pedro, and Pedro can come in as a shallow striker. It would be even better. Mitoma was benched and the wingers were rotated, so I would be avoiding those players to go for. The FPL options are Verbruggen, in my opinion, the only nailed defender, I think, from their side. Dunk, you can say, is nailed as well, but I would say Verbruggen is just a better option as you have way more attacking defenders. And João Pedro, even though he is at the price point at 5.7, and even though he is a little bit lost at the moment on the field, I think he is a good option, so I would highly consider him for the forward line because he's cheap and reliable and on penalties. Now let's see what we can do with Cunha, because not only he is injured, but he is banned as well. Finally, there are news about Mateus Cunha. He has been suspended for 2 games and was found guilty and fined for the incident that was happening, and fined 8k British pounds. I would say that this is a little bit surprising in my opinion, because Duran got suspended for 3 games and Cunha only for 2. Like, what are the criteria there? So if you fight someone from the officials around the stadium, you get 2 games bans, something like that. It's not the end of the world, but I think it's a little bit strange. He will miss though the Nottingham Forest game and the FA Cup tie against Bristol City, so only one Prem game. It was on the 4th of January and probably he was going to miss it either way with an injury. So basically those that like Cunha and want to keep him are not losing a lot. I'm using the Fantasy Football Scout Twitter, so I want to give them a shout out for the information that they presented. At the end of the day, I think he's still a sell only for a 1 game if he was going to miss, because he has, as you can see down below, Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool and Bournemouth would be considered a hard fixture. So the next 6 games I would be steering clear from the Wolves team, and it's safe to say that we need to find a replacement for Cunha either way, because it's not optimal to keep him. Now let's go and see the options that I've prepared for you, and let's discuss why I think those players can successfully replace Mateus Cunha. As per usual, I will be presenting to you at least 2 different scenarios, so I'm going to go first for the safe strategy. Cunha is at 7.1 and you can easily reach 2 of the following players, Chris Wood or Mateta. Isaac is a little bit unreachable if you don't have any budget in the bank, but let's first discuss Isaac. If you don't own Isaac, please just go and buy him. I don't think that he needs any more justification, because he has been amazing and he has been scoring goals for fun. Spurs away, Wolves at home and Bournemouth at home. I think the next fixtures are looking okay for him, especially the next 2. Spurs and Wolves are conceding goals. Bournemouth are good defensively, so I wouldn't say they're a team to target, but Newcastle are flying high currently, and I would say that Spurs and Wolves and Bournemouth are not the hardest of fixtures to go for. You have to have in mind that they face Arsenal in the Carabao Cup soon, and they have an FA Cup game. So in the next 3 Prem fixtures, they will have played 5 games compared to the rest of the sides. Most of the sides that would have played only 4. So yeah, have that in consideration. But if you are looking for a striker, just buy Isaac. Next best option in my opinion is Chris Wood. Forest are running high, are flying high. Wolves away and Southampton at home are games that I would be targeting, because Wolves cannot defend well against a target 9 player, and Wood is just like that. Southampton at home is just a good game, and I think that Wood will be amazing. Liverpool at home is a hard game, but Forest are currently second. They're playing at home against Liverpool. Liverpool are going to be probably with Cunha and Van Dijk, which are top guys, but Cunha is not the safest option. So I would say that Wood has an appeal to score in that game as well. Mateta is my final option here that I would recommend, because he has Chelsea, Leicester and West Ham United. If you're not buying players for fixtures against Leicester and West Ham United, you shouldn't buy them at all. Like, those 2 fixtures are the easiest at the moment. West Ham have lost Bowen for a long time. Leicester are not solid defensively. They have goalkeeper issues. Chelsea are bad defensively, so I would say that even Chelsea at home is not going to be that hard of a fixture for them to score, but still is way harder than Leicester and West Ham. So those are the 3 safe options that I would go for. As an Isaac owner, personally, I would most probably go for Chris Wood. I will need to see how the game between Arsenal and Brentford goes. If we get some injuries or something like that, probably we'll have to revisit my plans, but if that's not the case, I will just go for Wood as soon as possible, because he may rise in price and Cunha may drop pretty soon. So if everyone is safe and it's already Wednesday for you watching, you can safely say that both Cunha out for Wood or Cunha out for Isaac are amazing options. So yeah, if all games are played, it's way safer to go for a player. Let's see how it goes. I think Wood plays against Wolves, then I1 is against FA Cup opponent Liverpool and Southampton for Wood, so I think he's in a pretty good position. Now let's go and see the risky options, because I think you will like them as well. Here are the risky options that I was saying. They're risky for several reasons. They're explosive. First of all, they can return big, but they have some minutes/form risk. So Gakpo, I spoke about him several times. At 7.3, he's almost a direct replacement for Cunha. Even if you have a bit of money into the bank, you can go for that move. Manchester United, Forest and Brentford, not the ideal fixture run, but Manchester United are leaky. Forest are good defensively, but Brentford are conceding goals. So I would say Gakpo will be important part of the Liverpool squad. I think he will be benched in the cup games, so he will get his rest there and he will be present for the rest of the fixtures. 7.3, pretty good price. Watkins for the next two, for sure, Leicester at home and Everton away. I think he is one of the better options to go for, as those teams are conceding goals. Yes, Everton are good defensively, but Watkins has a pretty good record against Everton. Arsenal away, last time around when they were at home, Watkins almost scored twice. He couldn't do it at the end of the day, but Arsenal away, it's a hard fixture. Nonetheless, and Duran will be back at that time, and UCL will return pretty soon, so I will be quite hesitant going there. And Gabriel Jesus is the last option here that I would recommend. You can go for Kai Havertz, who has scored in the last two, but I think for the money, Gabriel Jesus is just in a better place. Brighton, Spurs, and Aston Villa, it doesn't look too easy, but in the opposite fixtures they managed to get 2 wins against Villa and Spurs, and they lost points against Brighton because they were down to 10 men. I think defensively and offensively Arsenal will perform okay against those sides, so all in all I think those are the risky options that I would go for. Of course, if you want Erling Haaland, it's a completely different question. You need to completely restructure those things, are just transfers if you have the money, and if you don't, I presented safe and risky options. So I think all in all you will be in a quite the best place to go for the players. So yeah, I like it that way. I think it's all good. So yeah, let's go and see now how the fixtures for the upcoming Game Week 20 are looking and where I think most of the points will come from. Here are the fixtures for the upcoming Game Week 20. We have 7 games on Saturday, which is quite a big number. We start with Spurs versus Newcastle. I think that's going to be a very high scoring game, so I would be picking attackers, especially from Newcastle. Aston Villa, Leicester, now without Rodgers, I think Watkins is going to be the best asset to go for attacking perspective from Villa. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't want Watkins, fair play. Bournemouth, Everton, I think Bournemouth are going to prevail. Palace versus Chelsea. Chelsea will need to bounce back as they have lost twice in a row and they made a draw. So I think here they are scoring several goals. Manchester City versus West Ham. West Ham are in shambles. I would expect a clean sheet and a lot of goals scored from City. Southampton, Brentford here. Brentford players are going to perform well. I don't know what's going to happen between Arsenal and Brentford as of yet, but they will have only 2 full days to recover. So yeah, there can be a lot of tired players. Brighton versus Arsenal. I think Arsenal are prevailing here. Then on Sundays, Fulham versus Ipswich. I honestly don't know why, for example, Southampton game isn't pushed to the Sunday fixtures, but I don't make the schedule. Fulham, Ipswich. I think Fulham is winning here, even though Ipswich has improved. Liverpool, Manchester United, the derby of those fixtures. I think if the games go like in Match day 3, game week 3, for example, Liverpool are scoring a lot of goals and United are just bad at the moment. I would say Liverpool attackers will be very popular here. And Wolves versus Forest. I'm pretty interested to see how these games goes because I expect Forest to win, but Wolves have improved massively and they're going to clash with 5 at the back versus 5 at the back, so it's going to be interesting to monitor. The games that I will be most probably watching are Spurs versus Newcastle, then I will focus on City, West Ham, Brighton, Arsenal, then on Sunday and on Monday I can watch all of the games, so I would make sure I watch at least 5 of the games and have my notes for the upcoming fixtures and discussions for Game Week 21. Now let's go and see what are the transfer trends, because I found some things interesting and quite surprising. So first of all, we are going to be starting with the transfer trends for the brought in players. As expected, Wood and Isaac top the charts, almost 400k transfers in for Chris Wood. That's a massive number, and I would be quite surprised if I don't go for that move. I think Hughes numbers will increase even more because we have 5 days until deadline at the time of recording, and I think it can reach close to 1 million. Sorry for recording that a little bit earlier, but I didn't want to prepare my team selection video without having seen all of the fixtures. But yeah, 400k transfers in, it's a lot. Isaac is almost reaching the 50% mark. 250k transfers, that's quite a lot. Aina is rising in popularity, so Aina is easily going to hurt me as a player if they continue getting those clean sheets. They are improving massively, and yeah, I think they're going to be a very well-oiled machine, and Aina is going to hurt like a truck, especially if he continues scoring. He has risen with 0.7, so that's a lot, especially for a defender. Luis Diaz and Arnold, after the performance against West Ham, is understandable. I'm quite surprised to see that Gakpo is so low, like compared to Isaac and Wood. Probably they don't believe in him yet. Cohen Gordon, pretty popular. Sales is pretty popular. I'm not surprised there. Rowe is popular because of the fixture run, but he still might be rotated. Have that in mind. Rodgers is a brought-in player, which is the most surprising thing as he's suspended. But I think he got brought in early doors, and people are just now figuring out that he's suspended. But still quite surprising that he's here. Robinson, obvious pick, and Mbumo, interesting person, still at 28%, but I think most of them are zombie teams. And against Southampton, it's obvious why he's brought in. Gibbs White and Elanga, I already mentioned, pretty good transfers and cheap transfers and differential players, but they haven't reached the 100k transfers of active managers. Watkins is a little bit over it, and Iwobi, I don't get why this pick is so popular. I would not be going there. From Fulham, only Robinson and Castagne for me are players to go for. The transfer out trends are obvious because several reasons. Okay, let's start with Cunha, suspended / injured. Obviously, he's out. Nicholas Jackson is pretty interesting because of the blanks. Most probably 230k managers have sold him. That's a lot of managers, and I think that this number will increase going forward. But I would say that this is a mistake, and I would be holding if I'm a Jackson owner. Madison, I understand that he is quite awful. Saka, awful for minutes, not for as a player. Saka, 130k players just sold him, so that's quite surprising. He will continue dropping in numbers, only 12% owned at the moment. Rodgers, 120k players are transferring him out, so basically the numbers are nullifying, but it was quite surprising that he was brought in so much. Amat, I would hold, I don't think it's worth selling. Bowen with the fractured leg, I understand. Mazraoui, I understand almost 100k managers taking him out. Joao Pedro is interesting because after Arsenal, he has a couple of good fixtures, so I would be quite tempted to hold Fabianski. Yes, understandable. Bruno, okay, I get it. Pedro Porro, Son and Solanke, people are just sick of Spurs and their mistakes, so I get that. Enzo, okay, yeah, I think there are better cheap enablers. But Virgil and Haaland are the most surprising things here to see. Probably people want to fund cheap defenders like Aina, Ho, Robinson, Castan, Munoz, 8 Nuri. I think I'm forgetting a lot of people, but they are going to do it with Virgil. Haaland still being sold out after he scored at 30%. I'm quite surprised to see the numbers. The thing that surprises me the most is that I don't see a lot of players bringing in Crystal Palace players. They're not selling them either, but I would have expected way more Palace players to have been brought in. But yeah, probably the Chelsea game is something that managers are considering. I would say that for after Game Week 20, for Game Week 21, Palace players are going to be way more popular and important to own for the foreseeable future. As per usual, we are ending on the shoutout page for the member set. 4 and plus 25 gifted Zach and Oscar Papa. Thank you very much for becoming members of the channel. If you guys want to support me financially, you can just go and become a member. You'll see that I've brought in badges for the members, and you can have a badge next to your name. Of course, a lot of more perks are there. You can see them presented in the section when you are about to buy that membership. On the other hand, if you don't have the money to spend or you don't want, you can just subscribe to the channel, like the stream, the video, because that's the most important part to be presented. Put down a comment if you think that I have missed something to discuss or you want something else discussed. Captaincy options are going to be discussed in the next video in the team selection, but I don't think that there are a lot of options there. But still, I think that captaincy option can be transferred to this video later on in the journey. But as of now, I think that this is a good structure. Once again, like, subscribe, comment, join the Discord, join the mini league. You can see the code in every slide. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.